Once again, friends, we've opened the doors to the ballroom. We're going to encourage you to make your way in that direction. Again, we are in ballroom 3. Just head towards the big actual number 2 on the wall, but it's right next to ballroom 3. All right, friends, the music has been turned off in the lobby. That is a subtle nudge for you to please make your way into the ballroom. The ballroom doors are open. Your tables await you, and we'll be starting the program shortly. Grab a friend, grab two, make your way into the ballroom. The program is starting shortly. Friends and supporters of Solid Ground, the bell is your formal invitation to please join us in the ballroom. Salads await you, table wine awaits you, food service will begin soon, and our program will also start shortly. Josh, I think I need more volume in the lobby mic, please. Friends, our program is starting in about 5 minutes. Please do make your way to the ballroom. Salads await you, table wine awaits you. We're going to start serving entrees soon. The program starts in 5 minutes. Please do make your way to the ballroom. Hello, friends. Welcome to the ballroom. If you're not sure what table you're seated at, your table number is on your name tag. Once you are at your table, you're going to want to find your meal card, take that out of your name tag, and place it on your table in front of your plate. This is going to help our servers get you the right meal soon. Once again, your table number is on your name tag, and inside your name tag is your meal card. You want to take that out and put it at your place setting. All right, please do go ahead and make your way to your table. Our program is starting ever so shortly. Once you've arrived there, go ahead and take your meal card out of your name tag and set it at your place setting. This is going to help our servers give you the meal you selected when meal service starts. Our program is scheduled to start in 3 minutes. 3 minutes. So please do make your way to your table and have a seat. Hello, friends and supporters of Solid Ground. Welcome to the ballroom. If you're still seeking your table, that table number is on your name tag. Once you've had a seat, go ahead and pull your entree selection card out of your name tag and place it on the table in front of your plate. This is going to help our servers get you the right meal shortly. Our program will be starting in 2 minutes, so if you have yet to take a seat, go ahead and mosey on over to that seat and sit down. Again, we'll be starting in 2 minutes. All right, friends and supporters of Solid Ground, give yourselves a round of applause for showing up on a sunny Wednesday in Seattle. Oh my gosh, we're so happy you're here. But you know what? I am talking about all of you, Solid Ground supporters, and people as fabulous as you, frankly, deserve a better round of applause than that. So we're going to do what we call in the biz a do-over. No, now you got to wait. Now you got to wait. We're doing a do-over. Okay. Here we go. Ready, character. Friends and supporters of Solid Ground, give yourselves a round of applause for being here in support of our favorite nonprofit, Solid Ground. Oh my goodness. Yes, you deserved that robust round of applause because you are our fabulous community. My name is Sasha Summer Cousineau. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm thrilled to be serving as your fundraising host. A little bit of business really quick before we get into the good stuff. I know you're hungry. If you have not already taken that meal card out of your name tag, you want to go ahead and do that now. And then you're going to set it on the table in front of you. This is going to allow our servers to give you the meal that you selected. Friends, we are in for such a treat tonight. I mean, talk about beloved community. We have many solid ground leaders and luminaries in the room, and we'll be shining a light on a few of them as we share the amazing stories about how we work with participants to build pathways beyond poverty. Now, I'm going to need you to just give so much love because amongst us in this room tonight are current and former staff of Solid Ground. Can we get a round of applause? Give us a wave, current and former staff. Thank you. Thank you for devoting your time and talent to helping Solid Ground achieve its mission. We also want to thank our past and current board members. Past and current board members, give us a wave. Y'all give them a round of applause. Board members really show up, don't they? They have been the heart of Solid Ground for over 50 years. We also have, are you ready? I hope so. We have members of our Community Accountability Council, the CAC in the house. CAC, give us a wave. Yes, yes. So the CIC is made up of solid ground community members with lived experience committed to leading change. People who understand that what's happening in their lives is also happening to other people. They provide input to help Solid Ground understand and incorporate the real life experience of people who come to Solid Ground for services, and they help shape Solid Ground's policies and programs. Let's just give another round of applause to the CIC, please. And our beloved community continues to just show up, and amongst them are our elected officials, electeds in the house. Give us a wave. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your leadership and for your work. We are happy you are here with us tonight. And speaking of elected officials, we would be remiss if we didn't take a good moment to remember Frank Chop. Frank Chop, former longtime Solid Ground leader and tireless champion for low-income communities. Throughout his career as a legislator and pioneering nonprofit leader, Frank worked tirelessly to advance and protect social services and the safety net for those in need, leaving behind a legacy without comparison. His many contributions and accomplishments will live on through the policy, legislation, and low-income housing he fought for. Frank will be remembered for his long and successful career as the leader of Washington State's House of Representatives and his unwavering commitment to human services and social justice, including equitable education, health care, affordable housing, living wage jobs, and the safety net. And also, Frank Chop will be long remembered for his legendary mustache. It has to be said. It must be said. The man, the myth, the legend, the mustache. So I will say I have very many fond memories of Frank Chop because after he officially announced his retirement, he was one of those people who basically failed at retirement because he was out in community at every single event. As often as I was at an event on a mic, he was in the audience raising his paddle, bidding on live auction items. So he continued to show up even after he retired. Can we just have a round of applause for Frank, please? Thank you. You know, Solid Ground is so rich in community, and we're going to mention some more members of our community. How about our presenting sponsor, BECU? Hey! And how about the media sponsor, the Seattle Times? Yes, yes. We have many additional sponsors. Take a look at the slide there. You can see who suits up and shows up for Solid Ground all of the time. Thank you for your generous investments in this important work. Now, friends, now I see that you are hungry. I see that you are thirsty. And here's the real deal. Philanthropy is an activity best practiced on a full stomach. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take a break from the stage program, give you some time to eat, be in community, converse, and we will resume our program soon. All right. Hello. Welcome back, everybody. I hope your dinner is delicious. It smells great. Friends, I am going to ask you to return your quiet and focused attention to the stage because I have the honor of introducing our fearless leader. She joined Solid Ground as Chief Executive Officer in January 2021. During her time with Solid Ground, she's helped the organization move through and recover from the COVID pandemic, launched a new compensation model, and unveiled a new strategic plan. She's brought with her a rejuvenated agency focus that melds coalition building with deep commitment to intersectional economic justice. She is the board president of the Washington State Community Action Partnership and serves on the Community Roots Housing Board. I think y'all know who I'm talking about. So I want you to give a very robust welcome as we bring to the stage Shalimar Gonzalez.
These lights are bright. Hi, everybody. Thank you, Sasha. It's so good to see you all here. I can see most of you, but it's so good to see you all here. Thank you for bearing through the traffic. Also, it's hot outside, and I don't know if you were like me, but I opened my closet, and I was like, what am I going to wear? Because I wasn't planning for it to be 85 degrees and sunny in Seattle. So just thank you all once again for being here. Before I begin, I'd like to acknowledge that Solid Ground cannot achieve our mission to end poverty without changing our relationship to the indigenous peoples of this land. When our board of directors formally adopted our land acknowledgement, we also pledged to put words into action by building deeper relationships with the Duwamish, Coast Salish, and other indigenous stewards of this land and work to repair colonial impacts. We recently put together a booklet that amplifies indigenous histories of the lands we occupy as an organization. And that space includes our housing campus at Madison Park, our Wallingford offices, Mara Farm, and our transportation base, both located in South Park, and our former program site at North Seattle College. You can grab one on your way out, and you can also scan this QR code on both sides of the screen to grab that digital copy. So definitely looking forward to you all taking a look at that. It's a beautiful, beautiful publication, and I hope you share it with your friends and family. This is just one way that Solid Ground is remaining committed to keeping our commitment to remain deeply rooted in community and elevate the voices and stories of those that have been traditionally excluded. And that work has become even more urgent as of late. We currently live in a time when there are very real threats to the institutions and values we once took for granted. Now, y'all know that I prefer simplicity over nuance, so I'm just gonna be blunt when I say this. There are a lot of things happening in our nation's capital and across the country today that pose a grave threat to the freedom and well-being of each and every one of us, especially communities that are often the most vulnerable and marginalized, even in the best of times. The onslaught of unilateral executive orders, funding cuts, mass firings coming from the White House has the potential to rapidly erode our community's ability to keep our most vulnerable neighbors fed, housed, and healthy. In the last few weeks, there's been a direct attack on nonprofits with an executive order suggesting that we can be deemed a terrorist organization at the whim of this administration. And although we do not know what will come next, what we do know is this: we have entered a time that demands courage from all of us. And for Solid Ground, this means that we will not capitulate in the face of threats from our federal government. Our commitment to countering racism and other forms of oppression is literally written in our DNA. And we have no intention of backing away from this work, not now and not ever. What we will not, and we will not agree to federal requests that are not aligned with our values. We won't sign federal contracts that require us to put participant information into a national database to check immigration status. And we won't stop fighting for critical basic services like SNAP and affirmative health care, Section 8 housing vouchers. And we won't stop funding our employee resource groups and our DEI training. Four years ago, when I joined Solid Ground, I thought that leading an organization through a global pandemic would be the most challenging thing I would ever do. And now I'm on stage being super critical of the federal government. But at the end of the day, we got through that pandemic together. And now we will come together again because we cannot be silent with this administration as it continues to harm those who need us the most. But if there's one thing that the pandemic has taught me, is that there is something that we can all rely on. We can rely on each other. We can rely on each other for a helping hand. We can rely on each other for guidance and encouragement. And we can rely on our partners like you all in this room today to support us. Because even with all of these challenges, Solid Ground remains committed to building pathways beyond poverty. This means providing safe shelter for a family fleeing domestic violence. It means growing fresh fruits and vegetables so that our community remains nourished and fed. And it means providing transportation for folks with disabilities so that they may get to their appointments on time. It means joining forces against injustices, so hopefully our kids won't have to. It means modeling for the next generation the power of being ruthless to systems and kind to people. That's a Michael Brooks quote, by the way. Please don't attribute that to me. He's a very smart man. So like Sasha mentioned, I started my professional career in youth work. I had the privilege of launching and running a program called Queer Rec, where we did things like hiking and skating and like snowboarding and climbing trees and all sorts of things. Risk management was always very concerned about this program. But basically whatever these kids wanted to do, we did it. And that was because we wanted them to have a space where they could be their full, true, authentic selves. And although I'll never be able to fully articulate the hundreds of hateful emails and voicemails and letters that the organization received because of this program, I will always remember what it felt like when the CEO said publicly that a program like Queer Rec was just as much aligned with the organization's values as any of its other offerings. So with that in mind, Solid Ground is prioritizing and deepening our youth development work. Youth development is something that Solid Ground has been doing for decades. And when we were building our most recent strategic plan, the community identified that this work was critically important. We fully believe that we cannot fight poverty without breaking the cycle of generational poverty. Over the next 5 years, Solid Ground will continue to invest in and build out our youth development portfolio so that young folks will have the same sense of support and safety that I received 20 years ago when I started my career. So to share more about our youth development work at our domestic violence shelter, I'd like to welcome to the stage one of our fabulous children's program supervisors. Her work is deeply rooted in youth development and intersectional spaces that provide empowering experiences and creative opportunities for all humans to grow to their best selves. Please welcome Amy Hill to the stage.
Need the specs. Good evening. It's an honor to join you here today as we celebrate the positive impact solid ground within the community for 51 years. And I'm here to tell you that no 2 days at Broadview's shelter are ever the same. Whether wrangling youth and families for a full calendar programming or working with individual clients to meet their deepest needs, you're guaranteed to never be bored. One of my favorite parts of this work is to be able to offer programs and experiences that excite, empower our youth to explore their world, to grow in confidence, to discover big ideas and express themselves in a safe space. We provide that safe and stable space to be children, to gain the tools to grow into their best selves. And as you know, we are not always our best selves. But we are a space where youth can learn to be their best selves. They get the tools and the support to become who they are meant to be. Words matter, and I have a story for you. We have a program at Broadview called Broadview Buddies, and that's all about positive self-identity and healthy relationships. Recently, we've been working with the idea that words matter. There's that rhyme, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. And it just doesn't make room for the importance of words. Words can hurt, they exclude, or they can have the power to inspire and include. When we gather and use our words collectively, they can have an even greater impact. So here's some words for you. Our Broadview youth have a few words to share. The words answer the question, what does Broadview mean to me? You can take a look here. Safety, trust, friendship, community, imagine, create, joy. We made this mural with our friends from Urban Artworks. We met on Zoom with teaching artists and high school students. Those high school teaching artists helped us come up with a physical representation of what Broadview meant to our youth. And in case you've never facilitated a Zoom meeting with 20+ youth, I can tell you, this is not one you can dial in and tune out. It requires your full attention. But the statements were profound, with essential truths and rich in symbolism, and also accompanied by fart noises. And snacks. It's essential to have really good snacks. So in this meeting, high school students kept asking questions that would bring the younger kids to the big ideas to life. Sometimes they would take directly conflicting styles, artistic styles, ideas, color palette suggestions. Things were left, right, and center. They calmly wrote those down. Some of the ideas here I'll share with you. The big tree, that represents Broadview itself, the physical space. And our children chose to put that as a tree because they see it as a living, growing thing. The children chose many kinds of animals engaged in different activities because we're all different with a variety of interests and talents. And I'm really proud of the thought and care our kids put into their work. Words really do matter. I have one more story to share. And if you've ever chauffeured a bunch of kids around in a car, you're probably aware of the extraordinary ideas and insights you may be privy to while just driving around, innocently minding your own business with an ear out. and this one really stuck with me. So during a transportation strike, our advocate, Rachel, and I spent several mornings and afternoons shuttling kids to and from school, And we noticed the children kept coming back to a big question that they had. Their question was, hey, are we homeless? Yeah. Are we homeless? And I really wondered what they would come up with. Families come to Broadview because they don't have any other safe option. They are fleeing DV and seeking stability and an opportunity to heal. And Broadview's youth know what homelessness is and what it feels like. These 5 to 9-year-olds spent quite some time trying to sort out their status. For them, some of the kids were old enough to be aware that other people did consider them homeless. They didn't have forever places to live, but they didn't live outside. They were safe, and life was more reliable. They ate every day, they had new clothes, and they had school supplies. They had fun things to do and friends to do it with. It was an incredibly thoughtful discussion to witness. And in the end, our kids decided, nah, we're not homeless. Words matter. They're not homeless because they had Broadview. They had each other. They weren't homeless because they had us. And they have you. It really is that simple. And it's that powerful. This work requires a commitment to care. It takes investment and participation in your community. It's a call to action. Your words, your time, and your financial support do matter. So please join us in keeping Broadview a truly welcome home. Thank you.
Let's have a huge round of applause for Amy Hale. Thank you, Amy. Your work clearly is a calling for you, and Solid Ground is so lucky. We are so lucky to have you doing that work. So thank you very much. Solid Ground works with participants to build pathways beyond poverty in many ways. For some, that means providing stable housing in the Sandpoint housing campus. For others, it means working with volunteer tutors to complete college applications and get set up for bright futures. And for participants like Florine, it means providing life-changing financial support so that she can sign a lease on a home of her own. Turn your attention to the video screens and let's hear a little more about Florine's story.
My photography, it follows me. It's a reflection of my life and my experiences and the spaces that I enter, and how I'm feeling about them. Sports, birds, my family, myself, sky, the water, just all things life. I think there's nothing in life that shouldn't be captured. So like I'll see a leaf on a tree or like some trash that was probably left in a bush 3 weeks ago and take a picture of that because I think it deserves to be seen. Hello, I'm Florine Jemerson. I'm born and raised in Seattle, Washington, and currently I am a photographer. So my childhood growing up, it was unstable in a housing situation, but family-wise, we were very close-knit. Me and my family, we had many phases of being homeless, probably from my earliest age of remembering. It's about 6 to 7 years old. We were just always, shifting homes. We stayed in shelters, with family and friends and in our vehicles. I used to always wear my socks super high to hide my scars because I would always have a whole bunch of scars on my legs from just, the effects of being homeless and just being out in different environments. I played a lot of sports and in uniforms. You got uniforms that show your skin. And so there was moments to where I ended up starting to hide my skin because people would start to notice and, talk about that. But I was trying to just fit in and be a kid. I knew that the circumstances that I was in wasn't necessarily the fault of my parents or myself or anybody else around us. It was literally the systems that were placed in America. It was the systems that were placed to keep us down, the Black families down, that I've just been able to see gentrification really be the main reason why my childhood was so unstable. When I reached out to Solid Ground, I was in a period of transition, probably at one of the lowest moments of my life. I was homeless for about 8 months. I basically was literally back in the same place that I told myself I never wanted to be in. I literally just started going into Google and started asking for help. And I told them, I'm homeless. I just need some help. I have everything else in order. I just need the bulk of thousands needed to move in. I literally was just reaching out to everybody I could, and Solid Ground was the beautiful flowers that gave me a call back.
The program in which Florine participated is a great example of Solid Ground's pursuit of meeting clients where they are. We want to make sure that each client's individual needs are met and their unique circumstances are fulfilled. In Florine's case, she had already done great work to identify the housing that would best suit her needs. Unfortunately, as many are living paycheck to paycheck, they may be able to meet the month-to-month rental costs, but may not be able to meet the initial upfront costs. And so we want to make sure that that move-in cost is not the barrier that's going to prevent them from being able to find their permanent housing needs.
I was just full of gratitude. It was literally like the answer that I needed. It was so healing. I was in tears, I was excited, I was screaming, happy dancing.
For over 50 years now, Solid Ground has been at the forefront of adapting to the needs of our community. We will put the clients in the center, which means that we trust and we believe that they know what is best for them. We also understand that to be an anti-poverty organization, there are many root causes of poverty that must be addressed. So we have a wonderful advocacy team that works very closely with the local policymakers to ensure that those systemic issues, such as racism, such as access to education and food and housing, that the root causes behind them are addressed.
It's so important that programs like Solid Ground exist because they just remove the small little barriers that keep people stuck into not wanting to fight or having these opportunities or just being able to be in healthy spaces to thrive. I love that there's AC in here, controlled heater system. I love the ability to walk to work, to walk to anywhere that I have the choice to just because of how centrally located it is in the city. I love how it's been able to allow me to just, like I said, meet new people. I've been able to travel and take my camera with me. I've always traveled for a minute, but taking my camera with me on the plane is crazy. It's just crazy. This is just, it's healing. It's beautiful. It's allowed me to rebuild all the things that I've lost.
Oh, I think we can cheer a little louder than that. Florine, thank you so much for sharing your story. As y'all saw in the video, Florine is a super talented photographer, so there are some note cards at your place setting. It is her photography, so please take those home, enjoy them. If you go out in the lobby after this, you'll see you can also purchase some prints, and it'll take you to a QR code out there, and you can also go on her website and purchase some additional artwork from Florine.
Keep it going for Florine. Yes. Florine, thank you for sharing your gifts with us. I was seeing your photography out in the lobby, and it is absolutely gorgeous. I think you have just a really huge future ahead of you. Make sure when you go out there, stop by and take a peek. If y'all need a print look, you can place an order with Florine this evening. Yes, yes. All right, that was special, but we also have another special treat coming your way. I'm thrilled to welcome to the stage a writer, poet, performer, and spiritualist who lives in Solid Ground's Sandpoint housing with her son, my son. As she writes on her Patreon page, "A Void with a Voice," I make noise about my own neurodivergence, poverty, racism, mental illness, conjure, and a mess of other things. She performs her poetry at venues across Seattle, most recently at Northwest Folk Life, and organizes open mic nights in the community space at Sandpoint. Please give your warmest welcome as we bring to the stage a poet who's performing a piece specifically commissioned and written just to be performed for y'all tonight. Please welcome to the stage, Lissa Bastet.
6 years ago, I had a nonverbal toddler. We lived in a hotel. I fundraised on Facebook daily to survive. I was terrified. I had made a leap I wasn't sure was practical, left a shelter that threatened our livelihood, relying on strangers to foot the bill. Scared as I was, I couldn't keep quiet. Even as I was drowning, I was looking for lifeboats for us all. A CPS call on me is a CPS call on all of us. If my family misses a meal, we all miss one. When I am homeless, we all go without shelter. If no one hears me, nobody else is heard. I didn't know I was the voice of the void then. I just knew I had to survive. I knew I had to make it out, to raise my son, MYSUN, and tell my story. For 2 months, I made a post every single day. For 2 months, I shared our lives. For 2 months, I wrote stories. For 2 months, I made phone calls. I went to appointments. I filled out applications. I pushed a giant stroller to the market. I cried in bed at night. I can honestly say I never lost hope. I lost sleep. I lost patience. I lost most of my mind. But hope, I've always been foolishly full of it. It's a major part of my toolkit. Don't know how I would live without it. Holding on to that mustard seed meant that I was allowed reprieve. After riding the dangerous seas of late-stage capitalism, I was granted the gift of stable housing. What a difference a home makes. I was finally given what it takes to make roots and stretch wings. I could finally use my voice to sing instead of yell. My toddler became a preschooler, then a kindergartner, no longer nonverbal, no longer at such a disadvantage. No more frantic Facebook posts, no more late night tears, no more isolation, still some imposter syndrome. That kindergartner is now a third grader with intense main character energy. He's opinionated and sassy. He speaks his mind unapologetically. I am now an aspiring poet, still housed, still making noise about spirituality, mental illness, and politics, and what could be achieved with the simple gift of solid ground.
Lissa
Thank you.
Bastet, everyone. Lissa, that was beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. I am looking forward to seeing more of what Lissa has coming up, and I can't wait to see you out sharing your poetry and your wisdom and using that beautiful voice. Could we get another round of applause for Lissa, please? Oh my goodness. As if this program hasn't been rich enough, friends. It just keeps being so good. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce our next guest speaker. She has worked in and around schools for 30 plus years and has been recognized for her work in education and equity. Since 2017, she's spoken to over 500,000 students and provided trainings and keynotes. She has 3 TEDx talks and recently published a book, Bridges to Heal Us: Stories and Strategies for Racial Healing. She's also an accomplished athlete because some people just have to be good at every darn thing, right? I mean, it's like, oh, you're good at that too. Amazing, amazing. We are so thrilled to have this person joining us to share her message of hope and action. People, put them together for the one, Erin Jones.
Good evening. It is such an honor to be here with you tonight. And I think especially in this moment, Shalimar, you already kind of initiated the conversation about where we are as a country. And it's days like today that give me hope, looking out at this audience, at other people who really believe in serving the people and making sure that we all have what we need. So who am I outside of being, having run for office and been an educator? I think when I think about the context of this moment, of the work that Solid Ground does, Amy mentioned in her speech the power of words. I learned last year at 52, on my way to deliver a keynote here in Seattle. I live in Olympia. I was on the road, and my mother, who's mom, but she's my adopted mom, I just call her mom. She is just mom. She's the only mom I've ever known. My mom texted me, and she said, Erin, I just heard you on KUOW doing an interview. Have you rewritten your origin story? I said, what are you talking about? She said, well, you shared on NPR that you were the product of a relationship between a black man and a white woman in 1970 in Minnesota, and because of that, you were given away for adoption. She said, that's not the full story. Now, she's texting me this. So if you know anyone from Minnesota, you know, that passive-aggressive, some of y'all know what I'm talking about. That's my mama. I love her. I love her. And she is texting me this as I'm driving to do a 5,000-person keynote here in Seattle. And she says, honey, your mom had an affair. My white mom, who was married to a white man, had an affair with a black man. And of course, in 1970, there was no abortion. And so my mother told me last year, exactly a year ago, you were the product of an affair, honey. Your mother's husband gave her an ultimatum. Either the baby, or me. And she chose him. And she left me in the hospital the day I was born. And I could see myself as a reject, but I don't, because 3 months later in foster care, Bruce and Dorothy Adamson decided to adopt a child that no one wanted. The director at the adoption agency told my parents, nobody wants black babies. And my dad said, it's exactly who we want. And my dad tells the story of walking through the nursery at the Children's Home Society and saying, she's the one we want. I was chosen by a family, not rejected. What we say about people matters. And as I listened to Florine's story and I listened to Lissa's story, there is beauty and brilliance in every single human. How we talk about humans matters. And I think about how I came to be on this stage today. My parents were disowned by their families for adopting me. They're good Christian Minnesota families said, we don't want to have anything to do with you. And so my parents decided in 1976 to take us across an ocean to Europe. And I was raised at the American School of The Hague in the Netherlands. The Netherlands, y'all. They could have chosen Chicago or Atlanta, LA, DC. They chose the Netherlands. And I would end up going to one of the best private schools in the world for free because my dad was a teacher there. And the benefit of that was I got to be around very powerful people. Just for instance, I went to school with the Israeli ambassador's kid and the Palestinian ambassador's kid in the 80s. For those who think like October 7th last year was the first time, I need you to understand what it's like to be in classrooms with kids whose countries are at war. And I got to live through that and think about what does it mean to actually live a life that matters. And I had decided by the time I was in high school, I'm going to become an international lawyer. And what I knew is if I was going to do that, I needed to come back to the United States and go to a really good college. And all the lawyers at the United Nations had gone to Harvard or Princeton or Yale. And so I was terrified to apply to Harvard. So I applied to Princeton. And I remember the day in March of 1989 when they announced over the loudspeaker at my school, Erin's been accepted at Princeton. And everybody's cheering everywhere. And I got home that night. My teacher dad, who made teacher money, was sitting at the kitchen table, and I could tell he'd been crying. And I'd never seen my father cry before. And he said, Erin, I need you to come sit down. And what should have been the best day of my life turned into a very different day. As my dad, the math teacher, forever the math teacher, y'all, he's such a math teacher, he wore a pocket protector into the 90s. Some of y'all who are not laughing are not old enough to know what that is. But my dad sat me down at the kitchen table that night and he said, honey, you did everything we asked you to do and more. Turns out Princeton had assumed I was a rich kid looking at the name of my high school. They never looked at my financial aid forms. And they gave me a $1,000 scholarship. Understand, I graduated second in my class. I could speak 4 languages fluently. I played 3 varsity sports. I played 2 instruments in the band, and I took 11 AP classes. I was not taking chances. Part of this excellence thing and doing it all was to get to America on a scholarship. And my dad had to tell me that day, you're not going, honey. And here's what I tell kids all the time. There are going to be times when you do all the right things and it still doesn't work. And you have to have a dream that's big enough that you keep going. I would end up 3 weeks later getting another scholarship. And this one was significant. It was a place called Bryn Mawr College. It's the sister school to Princeton. Pretty good school. What I knew about Bryn Mawr was that it was in Philadelphia. That's what the packet said. We didn't have YouTube. Some of y'all can't even imagine not having internet, but we did not have YouTube. So all I could trust was the brochure, and there was this really famous guy named Bill Cosby who was from Philadelphia. I know he's a hot mess now, but we did not know this in the 80s. And then there was this brand new show out called The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And I knew he was from Philadelphia, West Philadelphia, born and raised. And I thought, oh, we could do this. And so I got on a plane sight unseen and came to America. And I got off that plane in the Philadelphia International Airport and took a taxi cab out on the main line to my college, which was not in the city of Philadelphia. It was in the 7th wealthiest zip code in America. And there was a sign on the main street right next to my college, and it said this: Lower Merion, which is the county, cricket club, cricket club. No coloreds or Jews allowed here. For those who don't know what colored is, it's black folks. No blacks or Jews allowed here. Imagine being an 18-year-old kid, and that's the first sign you see. On my second week on campus, a woman walked up to me, and without any hate, she said to my face, "You're only here because we have to have 10 of you." And that's how I learned about affirmative action. And I remember a piece of me died that day. It was the first time I thought maybe I didn't earn my spot in America. Now I know it. I'll be 54 next Tuesday. I know at 50, almost 54 years old, I earned my spot at Bryn Mawr. But imagine being an 18-year-old kid being told, remember, our words matter. And a piece of me died that day. And do you know what saved me? What saved me was playing basketball on an outdoor court one day with a guy named Dr. J. If you're not a baller, Dr. J was a baller. He's still a baller. One of the greatest NBA stars to ever play, and I played with him all day on an outdoor court right outside of Philadelphia, and at the end of the game, he went home, and I asked these 3 high school black boys, hey, who was that guy we just played basketball with? And they looked at me like I had 3 heads and green skin, and they said, where are you from? And I said, I'm from the Netherlands. And they didn't say, where is that? They said, what is that? And I remember saying to these boys, how do you not know where the Netherlands are? And they said, we stopped going to school a long time ago. And the teacher kid in me asked these kids, where are you going to, you stopped going to school? I don't understand. Don't you have to go to school in America? And they said, nobody's ever checked on us. We don't even know where our parents are. And I said to these boys, what is your dream for the future if you're not going to get a high school diploma? And all 3 said, we don't expect to live to be 21. Why would we dream about a future? And I knew that day, at 18 years old, almost 19, how I wanted to change the world. And I ran all the way back to my college, and I called my parents. You had to call an operator to call Europe. And I woke my parents up in the middle of the night, and I said to my white parents, I love y'all, and I realized today how much you sacrificed to give me a different opportunity, but I also know what I need to do. And I want to make sure that kids who look like me have the same opportunity that I had. And I'm going to be a teacher. The thing that I've had, I will never be like my parents. I will never be like my parents. I will never be like my parents. I will be a teacher for kids who look like me. And I began to teach that next fall in North Philadelphia. And I knew by the time I was 19 years old that zip code and race and home language and ability were absolutely the greatest predictors of how children got to experience school. But I also knew by 19 that America likes to wait until people are really failing before they invest. So why am I here tonight? Because solid ground is on the front end of this. Solid ground is looking at the back end and the front end and thinking about what can we do to be that safety net, to be that solid ground so people don't have to get to the place where they have nothing. And I think what that requires is seeing every person, that person on the corner, that person sleeping in their car, being willing to see every single person as valuable. And right now as a country, let's keep it real, we just don't see things that way. Last year, I was getting ready to speak in California, and one of my former students, who was our state teacher of the year in 2020, she called me. And she said, Erin, are you in Olympia? I live in Olympia. Are you in Olympia? Can you come testify today? And I said, what are you testifying on? She said, there's a bill on inclusion, and it would be awesome to have you here. I said, I would love to, but I have to get on a plane. And I get about 30 minutes away from my home towards the airport, and she calls me again, and she's crying, and she said, Erin, there's a bill on the floor right now, or a bill in the House Ed Committee on feeding children. Do you know there's a bill last year would have fed all children, and 200 people showed up against that bill. And she was sickened. Yo, we have an opportunity to feed children. We have an opportunity to clothe children. We have an opportunity to give people the dignity that I believe all humans deserve in this country. Thank you to all the staff who are transporting people and working on the farm and teaching people to cook and giving them those opportunities to feel like human beings, because every single person around us deserves that value. I had the opportunity when I got married. I met my husband. You all know his brother, Jesse Jones, Cairo News. He's not at Cairo anymore, but I figured if I said that, you would know who I'm talking about. He works for Bob Ferguson now, but that's my brother-in-law. So imagine him times 2, that's my husband. But I married my husband right out of college, and he was going to Notre Dame for grad school. And we got married right away, had our first kid, tried to go buy a home in South Bend, Indiana. And over the phone, what do you think the real estate agent assumed about me? And when 2 large black people showed up, she took a step back, and she said, "Oh, we don't sell to your kind. And you won't find a real estate agent who will sell to your kind." Florine, I heard you talking about that oppression piece. And I turned to my husband that day and I said, "Where could we live in America where my white parents and us could live on the same block?" And he said, "Tacoma, Washington is the only place I know." And that's how we ended up in Tacoma, Washington, 28 years ago. But I say all this to say, we are still not perfect here in this state. And we have so many opportunities. And we can look at all the things we don't have control over right now. But I want to challenge you. I believe the answers are in this room. I believe the resources are in this room. I believe the resources are in your pocketbooks, but I believe the resources are also connected to you and the relationships you have. And for those who don't have resources, you have time that you can devote to volunteering. So I want to encourage, I believe the answers to where we are right now is right here in the room. It's in each of our communities. And so I live in Olympia. I co-own a cultural center where we are doing this very same work down in Olympia. It's my honor to be with you today, but I want to encourage you to give in every way that you can. I believe that our neighbors, even the ones we don't agree with, deserve to be seen with value and dignity. I want to end by reading the last page of my book. I wrote this book in 2020 after I watched how people in my church community responded to George Floyd. I told you my parents didn't really get along with their parents. My grandparents were not super excited about having a Negro baby in the family. The day after George Floyd was murdered, my aunt, who lives in Minneapolis, sent my mother an email, and all it said was, if black people would just follow the law, they wouldn't get killed by police. And my mother called me, and she was livid, and she was so angry, she was almost crying, and she said, "Erin, you're so much better with words. What do I say to my sister?" And I said, "You actually don't say anything. She doesn't deserve your energy." Y'all stop giving your energy to people who don't deserve it. Stop. We only have so much. And then I knew the next day how I wanted to provide something to the world. I knew that I had a story that could heal us, and so I began to write this book, Bridges to Heal Us. And here's my invitation to all of us, to gratitude, courage, and love. Stay grateful for every moment. Stay curious about those around you. Stay learning. Don't be paralyzed by not having the exact right answer now. Keep moving and speaking and disrupting and investing. Keep being and building the bridges we need to heal us. Do you see me on the track? I'm running in front of you, behind you, alongside you, reminding you when your lungs burn to keep going, reminding you to keep your eyes on the prize. Run through the finish line, my friends. You've got this. We've got this. Thank you.
Erin Jones, everyone. Wow. Gratitude, courage, and love. Thank you, Aaron. We're going to have an opportunity here in just a moment to show our gratitude for solid ground. And how are we going to do that? We are going to raise a thing called a bid card in the air. What is a bid card? It is a piece of cardstock with 3 numbers printed boldly upon it. Looks something like this. Each of you has one. Table captains, I want you to find the bid cards on your table and hand them to the human that they belong to. I think your name should be on it. But each of you wants this because this is what you're going to use in a moment to not only express your gratitude, but to demonstrate your courage. Because together in community, we can do really big things. And to show our love for our neighbors, for our community members. So once you've found your bid card, I want you to raise it up. It won't cost you any money this time, but I want to get a really great picture of you. Where's Michael B. Main, our photographer? So, okay, he's running to the stage. You all, hurry, find your bid cards, put them in the air, and now look really happy about your bid cards. Look so excited about what you are going to do because you're going to express gratitude to solid ground. You're going to show your courage with the boldness of your gift, and you are going to show love for our community. Beautiful. Oh my gosh. You look so gorgeous when you're being philanthropic. So here is what is about to happen. I am going to say a gift amount. And if you can join Solid Ground with a donation in that amount, then you will put your bid card in the air. Please leave your bid card there until I have read your 3-digit number, and then go ahead and put it down. Unless you wish for me to read it again, which I will gladly do. So in seriousness, though, I'm going to tell you the gift amounts that we're going to ask for in advance of asking for them, so that if you're like, oh, Sasha, one of those gift amounts doesn't really get me where I'm trying to go today with my courageous giving. I might have to raise my paddle more than once. Well, I'm going to let you know the gift amounts so that you know. You can make a plan, a little roadmap for yourself. So here we go. In a moment, I will be asking for gifts in these following amounts: $10,000, $5,000, $2,500, $1,000. That's going to be a fun one. I'll tell you why in a moment. $500, and another fun one at $100. Now, what matters is that we show up. It's so easy to feel overwhelmed, isn't it, watching the news? It's so easy to spin out in our minds. But I want you real quick just to look around this room and see the abundance of courage, joy, and love in this room. And what we can do together is big, and it's bold, and it is beautiful, and it amounts to real impacts. So let's do that together now. If you can kick us off with a gift of $10,000, please, may I see your bid card in the air? $10,000. Hello, thank you. 369. Brilliant, thank you. I want to let you know another donor who could not be in the room also gave us a gift of $10,000. So we've already started this portion with $20,000. That is phenomenal. We're already off to good work. So now, friends, if you can join us with a gift of $5,000, please let me see your bid card in the air. Hello, 377, thank you. 207, yes. 269, thank you. Amazing. Is anybody else joining with a gift of $5? Oh, don't play with me because I'll read that number. Do not tease. Do not tease. I love this work too much. All right, there it is. JK, I'm not going to do that to you. Okay. Don't play with me, though. I might. Okay. That was gifts of $5,000. Each gift, so invited. Each gift, so meaningful. If you can join us now with a gift of $2,500, let's please see these gorgeous. Oh, here they come. I see you right over here. 232-254-409. 322, and 231. Beautiful. Yes. What a joyful and generous community you are. Thank you so much. Okay, now I did a little teaser of this earlier. I said when we got to the $1,000 level, we're going to do something super fun. Here's what's about to happen. Some of you probably guessed already. Yes, we have a match at this level. As a matter of fact, we can match up to 20 gifts at this level. But here's the extra fun part. Maybe you're thinking, I want to lean really hard into this match. You know, when you give $1,000, this match allows Solid Ground to get $2,000. But maybe you're like, I'm about to go hard. I want to meet this matching opportunity. So here's a trick, a thing you can do should you feel so moved. With one hand, you'll put your bid card up. And with the other hand, you can raise 2 fingers if you want to give twice at the match level. You know what that means? $2,000 turns into $4,000 for Solid Ground. How amazing is that? That is what I call fun. So here we go. Can we do it? Can we meet this matching opportunity? I'm going to start on this side this time. Who can join us now with a gift of $1,000? All right, very nice. 321, 361, 258, 283, 234, and 295. This section of the room just rocked it. Hello, friend. 418. Thank you. And 419. Yes. And here you are. I see these cards popping up. 251, 399, 219, and 236. Thank you, beautiful. Anybody else joining with a gift of, oh my gosh, right here at the recorder's table, 388. Yes, twice. Oh my goodness, 388 just gave twice. And hello, friend, I see you right there, 254. Beautiful. Is anybody else joining with a gift of $1,000? Oh. You all are really doing great work. 251. Thank you. You knew what I was about to say, right? We can match 4 more gifts at the $1,000 level. Think about it. Does your employer match? Could you pledge $500 tonight and your employer would give another $500? If so, you can raise that paddle now and just talk to Judy at checkout. She'll sort it out for you. 253, yes, amazing. 409, amazing. Holy wow, could we get 2 more? Could we? Would we? Should we? Can we do it? Okay, all right. Give yourselves a round of applause. My God, that was wonderful. Thank you to each of you who raised your paddle. Thank you for raising yours twice. Thank you for answering the call when I asked you to stretch. That is what Solid Ground does each and every day with participants. So, you know what comes next? Meaningful, joyful, impactful. If you can join us now with a gift of $500, please. Let's see here we go, right here. 230, 389, 386, 359, 209, 284, 281, 353, 334, 223, 419, 367, 383, 415, 227. Amazing. Is anybody else joining with a gift of $500? That was robust. That was joyful. I just love the energy. The more people who raise, the more energy we are giving. I just love seeing us step into community. Okay, now, gifts of $250. If you can join us with a gift of $250, please let's see those bid paddles in the air. Hello, my friend. 302. 202, 350, 381, 293, 326, 417, 384, 363. This half of the room just rocked, but this half of the room also rocking. Hello, 347, 287, 341, 357. Thank you all. 267, 410, 375. Thank you, thank you. Oh my gosh, this section of the room looking mighty. Your philanthropic muscles are looking strong. Hang in there. 245, 290, 337, 352, 359, 423, and 224. I hope you feel good because you look great. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, earlier I said $100 was also a fun level. I think at this point you kind of know all my tricks, right? You're like, ooh, I saw what we did at 1,000. Well, here, I'm going to invite you to do it again at the $100 level. If you wish to give, yes, we can match so many gifts. So many gifts at the $100 level. We can match 60 gifts. Let's talk about what that means. 60 gifts, that equals $6,000. That, if we can reach that goal of 60, that turns into $12,000 at this level alone. So again, fun trick. I invite you, should you feel so inclined, you can raise the paddle with one hand, and with your other hand, if you want to give twice or thrice or thrice, no, that's not a word. You know what I'm saying? You can indicate with the number of fingers how many times you want in on this matching action. So I'm going to feel foolishly full of hope. Thank you, Lissa, for that phrase. As I hope we maximize this matching opportunity. Who now can join us with gifts of $100? I'm going to start on this side this time. Here we go. 271. 4, could you pivot that a little bit? 408. Yes. 228. 407. 340. 231. Thank you all so much. Hello, 308. 396. 210. 401 wants to give 5 times. Yes! Amazing. Over here, 416. 374, thank you. And 201 wants to give twice. Beautiful. Hello, 330, 220, 282, 212, thank you. 272, 402, 276, 391, 273, thank you. And in the tech booth, 240, thank you. Hello, 319. And in the front, friends, 270, 241, 246, and 342. You all are so great. Hello, friends, 233, 414, 208, 239, 376, 339. Yes. All right, stick with me. Here we go. 360, 243, 344, and 292. Thank you all so much. Right over here. Holy wow. 333 wants to give twice. Yes. 256, 285, 226, 423, 397. Thank you. And right over here, my friends, I see you. 230, 222, and 290. Give yourselves a round of applause. Y'all were so generous. And now 290 again. Amazing. Okay, y'all were so generous you made me breathless. Just this philanthropy is just the hit. Okay. I said $100 was the last level, but I kind of feel like maybe, perhaps, no, I feel fairly certain, there's a little bit of generosity left in this room. So let's talk about some meaningful signifiers, shall we? Solid ground serves, are you ready for this? 65,000 people every year. 65,000 people every year. Yeah, you can applaud that. Because that's more than a number, right? Those are people with whole, big, beautiful lives, with hopes, with dreams, with lived experiences. So, in honor of serving 65,000 people every year, do we have any last gifts of $65 Here's what we're going to do. You will raise them. I'm not going to read them because you're like, Sasha, we want to get back to the party. I'm like, I know. So what we'll do, you'll raise your paddle up. That's a $65 gift. We're going to take them, and then they're going to count them up over there. So let's see it. Do we have generosity remaining in this room? Let's see your $65 gifts. Put them up. Who's running around and grabbing them? Who's going to help? Okay. We have folks going through the room to pick those up. And while they do, I want to remind you that philanthropy is a bit of a choose-your-own-adventure type of thing. So if you were like, Sasha, none of those numbers really did it for me, or if you were like, ooh, I want to give it another way, guess what? If you're part of a donor-advised fund, or maybe you want to give through your stock or your IRA, maybe your employer matches. Hey, go to checkout on your way out. Just talk to our friends out there. They will get you set up so that you can give in whatever way you want to and in whatever amount you want to. So, you all are so tremendous. I want to bring Shalimar back to the stage. Will you join me, Shalimar? Here she comes.
Okay, well, that was exciting.
So
I love it when
exciting.
you're here. It's just so amazing and exciting. It's great. I want to thank Aaron and Lissa and all of our speakers today. I want to extend my sincere gratitude to everyone for attending, for showing up, making your voices heard today, and your wallets sing. So thank you for that as well. Solid Ground's mission is bold and clear. And for us, it means we will not back away from any challenges that are at in front of us. And we want to make sure that you continue to know that we're going to be here to support community for another 50 plus years. So there we go. And I appreciate your clear and steadfast support throughout the years, and especially tonight. You make it totally possible for us to stand in the gap to help support people who need us the very most, those that are the most vulnerable in our community, the folks that, I think how Aaron said, where we don't wait until people are at their very worst. We want to be able to catch people way before then. So I want to thank you all tonight. I want to thank all of our staff that are here tonight. Y'all are amazing. Thank you. Outstanding. And finally, I want to thank our 1 million+ community members who participate in our programs. Like we heard, 65,000 people a year, but we've been around a long time, so that's a lot of folks that we've been able to support thanks to your generosity and other folks in the community. So,
Should we have a drum roll?
let's do it. Drum roll.
we need a drum roll.
A very loud drum roll, which is
dramatic.
all of you. There we
Serve
go.
the drama with that drum roll.
Tonight, we raised $259,000. And that includes our tickets, so thank you all for buying your tickets, and our sponsors and all of our donations. So thank you all so much. Yes, applaud yourselves.
Yes. So, Shalimar, I'm feeling like they deserve a prize. And at least one person is going to win a very big prize. Who's ready for our raffle drawing? Make some noise if you purchased a raffle ticket.
I don't have my raffle ticket.
So this is our home and away package. Remember, it has overnight stays in 3 different locations, tickets to fun stuff all over Seattle. Value on this prize is over $4,000. Are you ready? Okay. Who is it? Wait, oh my gosh. Okay. It is, are they holding a raffle ticket? Yes. Okay, you're holding a raffle ticket, so I hope you have it ready, because the human holding the ticket with the following number is about to win this fabulous prize. The number is 376782. 376782. Do we have a winner? Is that you? Oh my goodness. Congratulations. Thanks to each of you who purchased a raffle ticket. You all have been so wonderful. A couple of quick announcements before you head back out to the party. As a special thank you to our table captains. Table captains, Thank you for bringing people here. We appreciate you. We want table captains to please take the flowers on the table. It's just a small token of our appreciation. We are about to go out back into the lobby and enjoy drinks and smacks. No, please, not that, unless you've gained very clear and enthusiastic consent. But I really meant to say snacks is what I meant to say. And also there's gonna be live music by the Leif Totusek Trio. Be sure to stop and check out Florine's photography. Say hi to Aaron in the lobby. And now, with no further ado, give yourselves one more round of applause. You have been so beautiful tonight. Thank you. This concludes your stage program, everyone. Thank you for being here. Go enjoy dessert.